Hello. Hi. Doing well. How are you?
Good. Four. Shreya, please start recording the video now. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. Thank you, Rishabh, for inviting me. Thank you, Arjun. It's a pleasure to be here. And when I got to know the target group that will be in this workshop, I became very excited and I decided to take it up because back in, when I was in, class 9th or 10th, I never thought that I could pursue content writing as a full-on career, which kind of explains as to why I pursued engineering and then an MBA. And it's a funny thing which runs in my family now. Sometimes, my dad quips, he's like, if at the end of the day you had to make some good money via content writing, why did you waste your money on engineering and MBA? But as I, kind of believe in whatever fuels your interest, whatever makes you happy to get up in the morning and, go to work, you should pursue that. So that's how I kind of got into content writing. So before I begin, I have a small presentation made for you guys, kind of like, it'll help you all to put the entire a speck of the content writing universe into flow, and you'll kind of understand how things work. I've not kept it very technical. At the end of the presentation today, I hope you guys kind of think about pursuing content writing even as a pastime hobby or something. And even if that's not the case, that's okay with me. So I'll just share my screen. Okay, can you guys see this? Okay, great.
Yes, we can see the screen.
Great, thank you. Okay, so I like to kind of have a purpose for everything that I do in my life, basically. So I just wanted to give you a little intro as to how I got into content writing and how it is what it is today for me in my life. So for me, content writing began in my engineering during my bachelor's degree. It started out as a way to earn pocket money. And what I used to do was at that point in time, I came across a lot of folks who wanted content to be written for their websites. So this was originally content around, let's say the real estate, some project that was out there, some architectural firm that wanted something to be written about cushion covers, small things like that. So I was just doing that as a means of earning pocket money. At that point in time, I think this was 2013 or 14. I used to write content of about 500, 600 words, and I used to get about 150, 200 rupees, which is very less in comparison to international standards. But for me, at that point in time, I used to be very happy when I used to go back to my parents and be like, I earned this money next week. College, you wouldn't have to pay me for my college, expenses or something like that. So it was a means for me to kind of fuel my independence in a way. So that's how I started with content writing. And how I actually started, pursuing it as a career is that I did this as a pocket money kind of thingy, passively. And then I completed my engineering, I completed my MBA, I started working as a consultant in a Fortune 500. I was working at a firm in Gurgaon. And what happened is that the pandemic hit. So, as you must all be aware, the pandemic kind of closed down the malls and all the retail stores. So, I was working as a retail consultant and I was let go of my job. So, business was not happening. So, they said, please leave. And I said, okay. So, for me, that was a little shocking for me because I was not used to, I was always used to having things my way. So at that point in time, I kind of took a break for a month. I just slept all day long. My parents got a little worried. What are you up to? What are you going to do next? And that point in time, one of my very close friends reached out to me and he said, why are you wasting your talent of writing? Why don't you start writing again? And that is when I came across this website called Fiverr. So Fiverr is a freelancing website. They're based out of Israel, but they're very successful, especially in India. And that is where I kind of started writing there 2 years back. Today, I'm making six figures from it just by content writing. So for somebody who was pursuing writing as a hobby, as a source of pocket money to today making a career out of it, one of the sources of my career out of it. I think it's a big deal for me. So that was my journey. And this is a display from the Fiverr dashboard. And all of these, spots that you see, they are the countries wherein I have serviced my clients. So I've worked in about 2 years now for 800 plus national and international clients. So you can see here in the United States, I have about sold content, same content for about 400 folks there. And a lot of these are repeat sales. So it's like how repeat sales function is that if I write content for somebody, they like my work so much, they come back to me. So for now, the highest record I still have right now is of 10 plus orders. There's this one client who kept coming back to me. So I've worked with her for about 10 times now. So I think that is the biggest testament for me as a successful content writer, is like when somebody comes back to you and says, I want to work with you only. So that is that is what I always strive to achieve when it comes to content writing. And that I believe is the power of words. So why is content writing important? So initially, when my upbringing was such wherein we were kind of always promoted to study books, read a lot of books. I used to you could always find me in libraries. I used to, start off with reading Tinkle, Tintin. I think 6th, 7th, I got class 6th or 7th. One of my poems got published in Tinkle. So that was a very big achievement for me. And then after that, I kind of picked up Enid Light, and I kind of picked up, Secret 7, Famous 5. So that thing happened. Then from 9th, 10th to 12th, I kind of got too much into studying for boards. I wish I could have continued with my passion for content writing. I didn't, studies took the forefront. And then after engineering started, I kind of picked up all these self-help books about, entrepreneurship, all these things which kind of interested, motivational books. So those books kind of helped me get into entrepreneurship, which I like to, refer to myself as these days. So I also have 2 other businesses running apart from this content writing thing. So reading those books throughout my life helped me to get in that flow of thinking about content, visualizing content, and emoting content via words. So why is content writing important as of today is because on a personal level it helps you express yourself. You look at therapy also, they implore you to go do journal writing and all those things. I think from a personal level content writing is important, it helps you to express. On a professional level, from a career point of view, it makes you money, one, obviously. 2, for the businesses, it helps them in lead generation. So what lead generation is, when you write content for a business, some potential customer reads that content, their interest gets generated, and then they come back to the business to check the business offerings. So in that way, content helps. Second thing, how content helps is that there's something called SEO. It's called search engine optimization. So what that basically means that you kind of use some keywords, do your research, you find some keywords of a particular topic, you incorporate those particular 2-3 keywords into your content that you make, the article that you write. And then when you put that article with the keywords on the internet, so what happens is Google picks up those keywords and then it ranks those articles. So better the ranking, better the website will rank on your Google search page, right? And that is what any business would want. So from a professional point of view, another thing why content helps is because of these keywords, this SEO, search engine optimization. So I just wanted to bring across 2-3 reviews that my kind of clients wrote for me. Again, you can just put yourself in my shoes and kind of think how fulfilling it might be to see these things written about you. So right from UK to US to India, all they're saying is that thoughtful writer, knew what we wanted, listened to, and had that flow of language coming up. Now the reason for showing this is a little humble brag, of course, but also to show you guys that this you see right now, it's not a one-off, it's not a one-off effort. I think all these reviews which come up is the result of all those years that I've been reading, I've been writing, I've been practicing. So the number one thing of content writing, or trying to establish yourself as a content writer, is a lot of practice, a lot of writing, and getting into that community where you can exchange the works that you've written with other folks. So a little technical I want to get for somebody who has an idea about content writing is that content writing, there are about 2-3 strategies of content writing, and I'll tell you where I found it. So first thing about content writing is outbound, wherein you write emails, right? Second is inbound, wherein you want people to come onto your website. So that includes that SEO, blog writing, and that is what I do. And then there's third called passive. Passive strategy is, web content, the content that you see on the website, that's passive content. So I do not write website content. I do not write emails. I do not write social media content. What I write is I write articles and I write SEO content. So that is my specialty. So everybody has their own specialty, but mine is SEO content. And content on our level would be blog writing, journal writing or whatever. But for people who are like 30 years, 40 years into the corporate careers, even they write. So they write things such as white papers. They write things such as research papers. And in that too, content writing plays a huge role. So, like they say, anything that you do in your life, sales is very important. Similarly, I feel content writing is very important. Your writing skills kind of helps the other person, make them want to talk to you or not. So whichever grade you are in today, I would really, really recommend you start reading more, start writing more, start expressing yourself more. And I can, count on my fingertips the number of opportunities I've been given just because I could express myself well. Be it debate competitions, be it quiz competitions. So content writing, in a way, encompasses all those things. So we'll keep it very simple for now. I just want to give you an approach how it really comes across. So let's say there's an article which I wrote, right? I wrote some article and that was a review, that was a feedback, wonderful feedback that a client gave to me. So what went behind writing that article? So the first thing is the client. Okay, so what I do is I ask my client two things before I start writing an article. First is, what is the title that you want? So that title can be anything. It can be something such as, how 5 benefits of swimming, let's say. It can be as simple as that, or it can be as complex as how does customer experience strategy help in lead generation. So these are actually 2 articles that I wrote, in fact, yesterday. So the first thing, let's say, is benefits of swimming, right? So I ask for that article title, which they give to me. Second, I ask this, what is the word count that you're looking at? The word count is important because my pricing of how I charge my customers is based on the word count. It's a very general practice all across the world. So the number of words that you write is how you can price your, skills and sell it to the client. So these 2 things I ask. Sometimes the client asks me, sometimes when it's SEO content, search engine optimization content, I ask them, do you have any keywords in mind? So these keywords are very well researched, okay? These keywords have a lot of factors, to establish the important ones. So if the client has those keywords, they provide that to me. If they don't, they ask me to do the research, I do it for them. But this is only in case of SEO content, okay? So let's say the topic is 5 benefits of swimming. I've been given that title. I've been asked to write 500 words on it. So the first thing I do is research the topic. So 5 benefits of swimming, because I'm a swimmer myself, I kind of have an idea as to what I can write where. But if sometimes it's a content which I'm not familiar with, so I have to spend about 1 or 2 hours researching, reading up on that topic. And that is the first point, researching the topic. On a personal level, why I kind of like content writing is because I am forced to learn new things. And as somebody who likes to, become a better version of myself, I love that about content writing because it has helped me strike a lot of conversations with a lot of unknown people. Because, I remember on Fiverr, the first week that I had, the client wanted me to write on UK's history. And I had no clue sitting in India that, what is the, dark ages or whatever. But I had to spend a lot of time reading up on it. And the client came back to me and told me that he didn't think I was an Indian writing about UK history. So that's the power of research. So now coming back, I've done my research on the topic. The first thing I do is write a compelling headline. So as you can see, the headline, the title has been given to me by the client. It says 5 benefits of swimming. For anybody who's a reader, right? It's very simple. If I look at that title, if I'm moderately interested in swimming, I'll definitely click on it because it has the word benefits mentioned. So why would not anyone want to know what are the good things about something, right? So then I write a compelling headline. And then I look at the word count, 500 words. So 500 word means that I have to go into a little detail, not much. The word count for any content writing article can range from, let's say, 250 words to 2000 words. So this is where the technical version of, short form and long form content comes into play. I usually work around 500 to 1000, 1500 words. So then 500 words, I understand I don't have to go into too much detail, but I just have to make sure that the reader has that interest maintained throughout reading my article. So then I do my research. I kind of put everything on the paper. Initially, I used to write on paper because I was a novice back then. Right now, I just do my research and type it on my laptop. So then I put everything, every content on one document, and then I start seeing which sentence makes sense where. Then I kind of look at the tone that the client wants. Does he want a personal approach, or does he want a very passive voice? Does he want a third party account of things? So according to that, I modify the content. I start writing it, and then making sure that the word count is maintained. Once that is done, how I do it is general strategy. How I do it is you have to break whatever you're writing into three parts. First, it's the introduction, then it's the main body, and then it's the conclusion. Even if you're writing a 2,000 word content, it has to be those three same paragraphs, three sections. Even if it's a 500 word, it has to be like that. So in this particular case, I will write, first two sentences, something related to the summer, whatever is going on around us, scorching heat wave, who wouldn't dream of, taking a dip in the swimming pool, all those things. And then I said, are you wondering about the benefits of swimming? Here are 5 benefits of swimming. That's the introduction. Main body, I write those five benefits. If they're keywords, I incorporate those keywords. Then in the conclusion, I kind of bring my reader back to that visualization. That are you still dreaming about taking a dip? Do not wait any further. Just go take a dive. Something like that. So those three sections really help to kind of what happens is how a reader sees it is the introduction. I might be doing anything. I might be scrolling my Instagram. I suddenly see that account. I suddenly see that article. I'm like, introduction. Oh, scorching sun. Yeah. So I'm like, emphasizing with my reader, the writer, right? And I'm like, oh, it's really hot. Yeah, that's right. And then the writer is saying, don't you want to jump into a pool and have fun? And as a reader, I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. And then suddenly they're like, you know what? There are benefits to swimming also. And I'm like, as a reader, I'm like, oh, really? And then I read the content, right? So what the magic in writing is that the writer has the power to take the reader into a different world altogether. On my Instagram, I might be looking at some reel somewhere. Suddenly, I'm reading that article and I'm transported into the world of swimming and the benefits of swimming. Right. So that is the power of writer, which I feel is really, really fascinating for me. Okay. So next, what you do is after you've done the conclusion part, you proofread your content. This is very, very important. So what I do is, even after all these years of practice and writing so many articles, what I do is once I've written the article, I just go away from my desk. After 1 or 2 hours, I return. I look at the article, I read it again from a relaxed point of view. Now I'm not looking at the deadline. Now I'm not looking at satisfying my client. I'm just looking at the content. Does it make sense? Do I feel happy about it? And somewhere, sometimes I may find 1 or 2 spelling mistakes that I might have done, 1 or 2 grammatical errors that I might have made, 1 or 2 tenses also that I might have, mixed up. So I make sure that that is correct. And then finally, this is something every day that I write a new article, I am practicing. So the wonderful part about practicing is that initially I used to write on using a pen paper. And so take me about for 500 words, for example, it used to take me about, 2.5, 3 hours to come up with a piece. And today it just takes me about half an hour, maximum 40 minutes for a 500 piece, which is technical. So I think that really, brings across the power of practice. It's the same as you doing mathematics. Initially, you're just confused about trigonometry. You're like, what the hell is happening? And then after, if you have interest in it, of course, and then you practice a lot, in just some months, you'll be like, oh, it's so simple. So practice again. Content writing at the end of the day is a very, very essential skill, but it's a skill. So you do have to practice a lot. So these are some tools. If any of you guys want to, start exploring, one, please reach out to me. I'd be very, very happy to help you guys. These are some tools which everybody in the entire industry uses, present on the internet. So for keywords research, there are tools such as keywords.io, it's the website, and kwfinder.com. So you can go in there. You can just put in, for example, let's swimming. And 50, 60 keywords will come up. And side by side along with those keywords, you will see all these different parameters. What is the search? How many searches does this keyword have? So from that, you have to pick up the right keywords which you think will help your content rise in the Google results. Second is proofreading. So Grammarly is an essential tool. I mean, even if you are a college student or a school student, you should definitely have this tool. It helps not just in commercial content writing, but even in your college assignments and school assignments. Slick Writer, Hummingway, all these are tools which will help you with proofreading. And finally, it's plagiarism. So plagiarism is a huge menace to the entire content writing industry. So it's an unspoken rule that your content, whatever you write, should have, a maximum of 1% plagiarism. And that's only because if it's topics such as 5 benefits of swimming, it's such a common topic. There'll be so many articles out there. So it's very, it may be possible that there might be some sentence matching with some other sentence out on the internet. So up to 1%, it's okay. But for me, the rule is 0%. It has to be 0%. And plagiarism kind of, also helps to segregate the professional content writers from those who are just starting out. There will be plagiarism. If you use tools such as Grammarly and small SEO tools, I use both of them every day. You'll come to know which sentence is matching with which content where on the internet. So, for example, if I put this article, I do a plagiarism search on, using Grammarly. Grammarly might come back to me and tell me, this sentence, third line of the fifth paragraph, this seems to be copied. So I go to the source, I look at that article, and I'm like, huh. So, one thing it also helps me is it helps me to read the same article written by some other person, can be from any country, and it just helps me to look at their perspective, how they approach this topic. So for plagiarism, make sure it's not there. If it's there, it shouldn't be there ever. From your college assignments to your research papers to your commercial content writing, it should not be there. So this is when I'm talking in case of commercial content writing. If you're looking at writing that you do for your own personal self, say journal writing and poetry, for example, you'll never find plagiarism there, right? So it's acceptable in those cases, but not in commercial content writing. And this is my final tip. This is something which I kind of dealt with a lot. Initially, when I started out, I did not have that confidence that that content could sell words. Okay. And this was when I started out with making pocket money using words. And for me, I was somebody who was pursuing engineering. And it didn't make sense for me to, make even some money from it. So at that point in time, I think somewhere, had I got a good mentor at that point in time who would have kind of promoted me, you write well, why don't you continue with it? I mean, that would have really helped me. So this was back then. 2 years back, when I started content writing at the behest of a friend who told me that, you write well, why don't you make money out of it? 2 years back, I had that issue wherein I thought, you know what, I have had 2 professional degrees. It doesn't make sense for me to, pursue content writing as a full-fledged career. I was suffering from confidence issues 2 years back. And I feel somewhere it kind of radiated in my content. So what I kind of decided was 6 months, I think after I got first 5 gigs on Fiverr, when my clients who were not only Indians, they were from, clients such as who wanted me to write about UK history. When he came back to me and he told me that you write well, and he came back to me for 3 times. Next 3 times he came back to me that I want content from you. When such 5 people from some part of the internet, from some other country, not India, came back to me and told me that you write well, somewhere something in my head clicked and said, you know what, maybe I do write well. Maybe I can make a career out of it. So I think had I had that kind of confidence, which I have today, back then, I would have been on this journey way back. So I feel you have to be, very confident about what you're writing. And I kind of am mentoring 2, 3 folks right now who have started with their content writing journey. They are pursuing the bachelor's, I think. And that's what I tell them. I said, it's okay to make mistakes. If you think of making mistakes, it's okay. Just come back to me. We'll fix those errors together and then we'll move forward. And I think one of them has actually, started writing really good content. So this confidence, even if you think it won't show up in just words, it does. So you have to be confident with whatever you're posting. So I know it's a 2-session thing. So I just wanted to, kind of give you guys a chance. If you're moderately interested with whatever I had to say today, I would really want you to kind of write 250 or let's say 300 words on either of these topics. One is first 5 benefits of swimming. So it kind of will help you, do a practical, analysis of whatever I said and kind of translate that into paper. And second is something which is really blowing up these days. You guys must be more aware of it. It's NFT and cryptocurrency and metaverse and all that. So if you're moderately interested in that, please do write on that too. And if you're thinking about pursuing content writing, you should know that it's not just simple topics such as health and fitness, or let's say meditation, mental health, or fitness, or software, or product management. There are also these new things. I am seeing a lot of my clients coming up with topics such as NFT, metaverse, cryptocurrency to write about. So good thing about content writing is you just have to master that skill once. So your skill is content writing, and then you look at your interests. Is it SEO? Is it ad copy? Is it social media content? Is it email writing? Or is it something such as blogging? Blogging is also a very, very big thing. And there's also something, if you guys are interested in, it's called ghostwriting. What happens there is that you write for somebody, but you don't say that it's you. So I have actually done it for some of my clients. Those clients are CEOs, CXOs, but they don't want to go to the public and tell them that, what, this content, I have not written it. They don't want to do that. So what they tell me is that, will you be my ghostwriter? So I write the content for them, but I don't take credit for it. So that's also something, if you want, you can pursue. It has good money, better money than, a normal non-ghostwriting piece. So what I would like to end my session would be is that content writing is a skill which you should master. It'll help you throughout your life. It's better if you get started today. And second thing is your interest, be it tech, automobile, software, product management, NFT, crypto. You just have to do match. You have to play a matchmaker. Take content writing, pick up any of these interests, and voila, you have content in front of you. You can be a very specific, content writer in that specific niche. If tomorrow I am a client, potential client, and I come to you and I'm like, can you write about, Mercedes? You write a 500 words about this new car that Mercedes is launching. You'll be like, I'm sorry, I don't, it's automobile is not my expertise. I just write about cryptocurrency. And I'm like, oh, okay. So as you get more technical, as you get more specialized, even in content writing, you get paid more. I do a lot of generalized. I write about anything and everything because my motivation is to learn new things. Apart from content writing and making money out of it, I like to learn new things. So I'm okay with anything else. If you come to me and tell me, can you write about Mercedes? I'm like, yeah, sure. Then I'll go back, do my research, come back to you, present you with some good work. So these are some ways how I kind of, managed my content writing passion turned career. And if you guys are interested, moderately interested, need more information to kind of, get started with it, please reach out to me. This is my LinkedIn. And one more thing I want to kind of show here is that I have recently started writing content for LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is going to be like the new Facebook. If you guys are not on LinkedIn, I would recommend get on with it today. I know you guys are in school, and LinkedIn is supposed to be that corporate thingy. It's not. LinkedIn is going to be more like an Instagram, but in a more professional sense. It's promoting a lot of creators in India to come up and post on their own platform. If you go back and do some research, you will see that LinkedIn actually brought in its LinkedIn creator program reserved for only 200 folks to India. So they're going to come up in a very, very big way. And you guys have the first mover advantage to kind of grab that opportunity. It's like, had you started when Instagram was growing back then, today you could have, maybe if that's your interest, you could have become an influencer, right? Now it's very difficult to become one. It's the same with LinkedIn. Now is the right time to get on LinkedIn. So what I've started now doing, if you see here, is content writing specialist and LinkedIn optimization strategist. I've started writing content for people on LinkedIn. So how you grow on LinkedIn is post a lot of content, but what my problem analysis brain thought was, professionals don't have time to write content. They want somebody else to write content for them. So I reach out to them via LinkedIn. I'm like, hey, I'm a content writer. Do you want me to write on for your LinkedIn? And they're like, yeah, why not? So that's one more monetization which I've started. I've started writing content for LinkedIn. Anyway, if you guys are moderately interested, I'm either present on my Instagram, which is mentioned above, Fiverr Feminist. Please reach out. Second is my LinkedIn. Please reach out. Any help, I'm very, very happy to help. And like I mentioned previously, is for the second session, I would love to, if you guys have the time, who is interested, please write 250 to 300 words on either of these topics, or let's say any topic that you would like. I would love to read it. and give you constructive criticism so as to help you, kind of set you on that path. And we can, and one more thing which I would really love to kind of make this session a little more productive for the next time is that please suggest what else should I cover in the next session, either a more detailed part of today, or we can do analysis or some hands-on workshop thingy for the articles that I mentioned, and I think it will be more productive for everybody that way. So that was me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you. Yep. Of course, I just let me know this. I have written a lot about a lot of topics. I would love to show you some samples. I can share it with you after the session. You can either share it with everybody later. If you want something very of a very particular, specific topic, I can find that for you. If not, I'll be happy to provide you 2-3 samples which I normally present to my clients. I'd be happy to do that.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I'm into poetry writing and novel writing. Basically, I started writing when I was 7, and I've grown a lot since then. But the thing with me is I cannot write articles to save my life. I've tried a lot. I've done a lot of research. I am still writing and trying to write better articles. But in case I can't pursue a career in article writing, is there any way I can pursue a good one in poetry? Because in today's world, a lot of people aren't interested in poetry, and I just don't see I can make a career out of it.
So what I would say is I'm a very realist person, right? Given that entrepreneurship interest, I would always see if there's some money to be made out of something, will I go and pursue it? So how I see your statement is like this. One, you're very interested in poetry, so pursue that. If you're thinking of becoming a poet, do it. But let's be very very realistic. The chances would be less, right? Because it's very subjective. But at the same time, you are saying that you want to pursue poetry, you want to make a career out of it. So this is what I'm saying. One, you continue your interest, you continue your passion with writing poetry. Please do that. At the same time, check out Fiverr. That's where I'm freelancing. So Fiverr is a freelancing. Like I mentioned, there are a lot of other websites available. I have struck success with Fiverr, so I always promote that. On Fiverr, you have these amazing gigs. These gigs are these services, okay? They term it as gigs, wherein people are writing poetry and selling it. And it just depends on what the client wants. Let's say I am selling poetry. I would put up a gig saying that I will write poetry about some theme, some topic. A potential client from US or from say, Africa comes to me and is like, you know what, I want a piece written around this, but I don't have the visual or the writing skills to make it work. Can you help me? And then tap into your skills, your interest, and then you present piece to them. They would obviously be happy given you're skilled in it, it's your interest, and they would pay you for it. So for me, you should definitely pursue your interest on a personal, not personal, I'd say, as a poetess, you should definitely pursue that. But if you want to get on the track of making money a little quickly, start exploring freelancing also. I'm not saying you should do this. I'm definitely pro you pursuing your interest, but I'm just saying even if someday choose to keep poetry aside, definitely get on this freelancing website. On this, there are others also such as Contra, there's Upwork. Get on there, start writing. You might never know where or with who you might strike success, and they might love your work. Similarly, a lot of folks are into ebook writing. So ebook is a long form version, right? 20,000 words, 30,000 words. There are people who are selling that. And it's making them good money. I can also share one very amazing YouTube video. And this lady, she's a Fiverr freelancer. She goes by the name of Alexandra Fasulo. She is making some good money with writing, ebook writing, and all those things. So if people can sell ebooks on Fiverr, I'm pretty sure people can sell poetry and poems on Fiverr. I would definitely do some research on it and share 2-3 gigs of how people are doing it for you, so that you have a better idea. And I would definitely not think that if you cannot write article doesn't mean that you should not, that you should leave content. Poetry is a very, very difficult form. I tried it. It takes a massive amount of visual sense to kind of put it in words, whatever one is thinking. I cannot do that. I'm more of a realist, as I mentioned. So what I'll do is I'll definitely find 3-4 gigs for you, show you how people are doing it, what are the reviews like I showed my reviews. I'm pretty sure there might be some reviews on that website. That should kind of give you some boost as to how you can also make money out of it. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, 5 benefits of swim. Yeah. So when I started making, so I used to write, like I said, I used to write like I think every teenage kid who goes to library writes. I don't know. I mean, I might be making a very generalized statement here, but I used to write class 6, 7. Like I said, I got published in Tinkle. So this was a very childhood thingy that I did. I told my parents, "Oh, I've written this." Now that I look back, it was so kiddish. I think it was something about a castle or something about my maths teacher or something. But I wrote it and I sent it and they published it. And that for me was a very, very big sense of achievement. And kudos to my parents who kind of didn't pull me down. They're like, "Ye sab kya hai?" They just went and they're like, "Okay, write." And after getting published for the first time, when I got back to writing again, I was like, words are not coming to me. So that is when I realized maybe it's a one-off thing. So I left it there. Second thing what I did was I had back there 2-3 childhood friends with whom we used to kind of exchange whatever we used to write. So that kind of built that community wherein we used to practice writing. Second, so this was one instance wherein my kind of parents and my childhood friends kind of promoted, we kind of exchanged these things as a hobby. Second thing is when I was in college, I wanted a means of pocket money. And I knew I was good at written and spoken English. So, and at that point in time, I registered myself on Let's Intern. I'm pretty sure they work these days as well. So from there, I started getting all these assignments wherein they used to select me and they used to tell us how to write and all those things. I and at that point in time, I got published twice or thrice. I wrote 5 or 6 times. Somewhere the company, 2-3 companies defaulted. They didn't pay us money, which is a very, very bad thing. So even if that happens to you guys, it's really sad. But don't be demoralized. Just know that not everybody is as bad as some folks out there in this world today. So I wrote 5-6 times there. 2-3 times I got paid, which was very measly amount, 200 rupees per article. But I wrote and I left it at that. At that point in time, I kind of moved into reading a lot of self-help entrepreneurship books and all those things. And after I was let go from my job, from my corporate job in 2020, is when one of my friends with whom I had organized a TEDx conference from Amity, he kind of reached out to me and he said, "I know that you write well." So what I was doing till now is that anyone who wanted some help with writing, they used to come to me and they used to tell me, "Devika, can you please write this piece for me? 1 paragraph, 2 paragraph." And I'm like, cool, let me do that. So that is when he told me, instead of not doing anything now, why don't you get started with writing? Like I said, that confidence on that confidence slide, I found my first client, and when that first client kind of told me, "You write well. I'm going to make my content. I'm going to make you write my content from now on." And then first five clients on Fiverr said that to me. That is when my confidence like went down. I'm like, oh, maybe I do write well. Um, so I would say the commonality between all these things would be when I started getting paid for my content. That is when it kind of hit me that I may write well. This is what is happening with the three mentees that I have right now. They kind of came on board with just practicing content writing with me. But, at one point, I was very clear in my mind, after I see some samples from them, I will be paying them. So once that started happening, I can see that confidence in them coming through. They're like, "Oh, I can write. You're paying me for it." I said, "Of course, I'm paying you." So I think it's tied to that monetary aspect. So yeah. Is it? So I didn't understand this question exactly. Fun content writing career. I wouldn't say I have till now. I mean, the only difficulty I am actually, it's not a humble brag, guys. The only difficulty I'm facing right now is that I have a lot of clients coming up to me and telling me that I should write for them, and I don't have the time because I'm just one person, who is managing all of my content, and it kind of gets a little difficult to say no to clients. So that is the only difficulty I'm facing right now. But at the same time, I do realize that Fiverr is something which is so. Most of my service is via Fiverr. So Fiverr is something which is based on algorithm. And the thing is, if I say no to some client, my gig will start ranking low, and that will affect me in my future. So what I'm facing is a huge difficulty whether I should say no to the client or not. So that's leading me to overwork a lot. But that's the current, issue that I'm facing in my career as of now. Yeah. Okay, so I think at this point in time, I would not say that I do get disappointed about any article because I've practiced it so much. I know what my client wants, and the beauty about content writing is such a universal skill, like graphic design, right? It's not Hindi speaking, for example. It's not limited to a particular demographic. It's a universal skill. Anybody, right from US to Zimbabwe, would need my content. So, given the amount of practice I've had, I haven't felt disappointed because I know what my client wants. Most of the times, it's I who is guiding my client. You know what? In my experience, this is what you want, and they're like, "Oh, thanks." Um, but I do have been disappointed. I think it's those times wherein a client comes back to me and tells me that they did not like that article. So there can be two ways how I do. Justina is saying something. Okay. So there are two ways how I, see that revision request from a particular client. One, the client may be a scammer. So it's very common on Fiverr. Somebody would want to, extract free work from you. If that person, so it takes a lot of, being on Fiverr to know being on a freelancing platform to know who is a scammer, who is not a scammer. Let's say the client is not a scammer. Okay. Then I get into details. What is it exactly that you did not like? Is it the amount of keywords that I used? Is it the placement of the keywords? Is it something, related to the tone of the article? What is it? So they kind of help me understand their vision better. And then I kind of write more on it. So they, that is the only disappointment I have wherein I cannot satisfy my client in the first impression. They're like, "I wanted to write." I'm like, "Here's the work I've done." They're like, "Wow." If that doesn't happen, that kind of disappoints me. But then we kind of get to the root of it, what actually went wrong. If yes, how did you motivate yourself? So in such cases, what I do realize is, so this is another part of being a freelancer and content writer which comes into play, is you have to bring in a lot of customer centricity. What that means is, if tomorrow I don't have a customer for my business won't work. So my approach to doing work should be that, are my clients happy with what I'm selling? So that motivation comes from the fact that, is my client satisfied with what I had to give to them? So, I mean, that's pretty much it. Sometimes, I will tie this into the next question. That is, how do you deal with the writer's block? Like I mentioned, there's a lot of gigs that come in. And my brain, sometimes it just gets fried up. Every day I'm working, 6-7 hours a day. And just words, just my mind just goes blank. So in the cases wherein I have to fulfill a revision request, I have to bring in a new perspective. I'm like, I had this perspective A, which the client had a particular issue with. Maybe I have to go with perspective B. Similarly, a writer's block. I have a blank brain. I don't know what to think. So on those days, I just chill out. I just go watch something on Netflix. I just go do some workout, and maybe a good night's sleep. I come back and I'm back at it. The brain starts functioning again. A bigger motivator to the brain becoming functioning again is the fact that I've put in so much of practice. So my brain kind of, gets into that zone that, okay, there's a laptop ahead, there's a Word doc open, get started. So it's something like that. In some cases, now I'll go to the next question. In some cases, the writer's block is to do with the fact that I may not know about the topic itself. So what I do is I go on the internet, I just put in that particular title on the internet, and I read what people have written about it. Right. And then I try to match it with what my client wants. Does he want a funny tone? Does he want a content which is full of puns? Does he want a very serious piece? And then kind of, given that practice, my brain kind of starts working and then starts producing those words out. Does content writing help in novel writing or make skill better at it? Of course, it helps. So, see, content writing, like I said, is a very basic skill. You have to kind of then specialize it to fill different avenues. For example, let's say content writing, you're interested in NFT, you match it something specialized, right? Similarly, content writing, and let's say you study about design thinking or you study about consumer behavior. So that kind of becomes a very specific, specialized thing. Similarly, with novel writing, content writing, creative, you have that creative bend of mind. Like somebody, I think Arna was there, who writes a lot of poetry. I cannot write poetry. It requires a lot of visual thinking and imagination, which I realized I don't have I don't have much interest in it. So if she kind of gets into a lot of content writing practice, right? She understands what content is, how do you please the user, and then she fixes it matches it with the poems that she writes. So she'll become very specific in that. Similarly with novel writing, if you get on Fiverr today, you look at so many people who are selling so many novels from so many genres, it'll just blow your mind. So it's like really, really impressive. So definitely content writing helps you in that. Why did you choose content writing? Very nice question. So what happened is that I'll not go way back now. At that point in time, it was just pocket money for me, and I didn't have any much skill. Studies was important to me, and in the extra time that I found apart from my college studies and extracurriculars, organizing conferences, content writing seemed effortless to me. But today, why did I choose content writing? Because 2 years back, again, those initial clients saw something in me. And what I thought was, it's not my parents, it's not my family, it's not my friends who are saying that I write well. It's some random people on the internet who are promoting me, who are encouraging me, and then giving me money for it. So that's how I picked up. And then I worked on a lot of platforms to explore which works best, but Fiverr helped me a lot. It also has to do with a lot of excellent work ethic, a lot of getting back to your clients on time. And once I started seeing that I was making a real impact to my clients' business needs, I kind of continued with content writing. And as of today, it's making me good money. I can see it as something which will be there throughout the end of time. 5 years back, nobody, blockchain was such a small thing. Cryptocurrency was like, is it a bubble? Is it what? Today, it's the talk of the day. 10 years from now, it's going to be all metaverse. Nothing's going to exist outside of that. What is going to be common between all of these things? Content writing. So for me, as somebody who was told to say bye to her job because the pandemic hit, content is always going to be there. Content is like data, right? It's always going to be there. If something is successful, the data will show you that it is successful. If something is going bad, data will show you it's going bad. So it's a very universal thing. So because of it being universal and because of I finding good success in it, I kind of, went on, continued with and still continue with content writing. What if there was no platform for content writing to continue engineering, or would you choose a different path? Interesting question. So, see, the reason I kind of chose content writing, and entrepreneurship. So content writing, apart from I selling these services on Fiverr, mostly a freelancing platform, I've also opened a content writing agency. So I kind of source my offline clients, non-Fiverr clients from there. I got into this entrepreneurship sprint because I have my college degrees, and I kept it like a realist that I am. It's little, this question is little more to do with who I am and less of content writing. But in the back of my head, I know this, that if when I started with content also, I knew this, that I have to give it 6-7 months at the max. If this works out, great. If it doesn't work out, I'll go back to my job because I have those degrees to back upon. It's an interesting thing, but when I was let go, so one of my bosses, he kind of told me that when the hiring will be restarted, we'll call you back. That kind of cushion was there. One of my other bosses who joined another firm, he kept on calling me to join the new firm, and I just simply told them, I have had one experience. I would now love to see if I can put in so much effort for you guys, right, and get such good reviews. What if I put the same effort on my own side? So to answer your question, if tomorrow I don't have content writing with me, I have 2-3 different avenues which I'm also pursuing along with content writing. If none of that works out, if no freelancing works out, I have my college degrees which I can bank upon and then rejoin a 9 to 6. So yeah, that is how I would like to answer that question.
Actually, I have one more doubt. Ma'am, I have one more doubt. What is the difference between a blog and an article? I never understand the difference.
So, article can be a magazine article, and blog includes a lot of articles. Get it?
So why do you give a name blog?
These are just terminologies which kind of existed way back when content writing, when SEO was getting into play. For example, I'll tell you. So there's this website blog called Fitness versus Weight Loss. It's my mom's blog, right? It'll have a lot of articles in it. Okay, so that's a blog, and that has a lot of blog articles in it. Or on the other hand, we have magazine, which has articles in it. So that becomes a magazine article, right? So sometimes, you come across a lot of people who say that I want blogs written. And I'm like, you mean a blog article? They're like, oh, yeah, blog article. So that's the common difference. It's just about writing at the end of the day, but it's just we section them into different terms to kind of, make sense, give them a little technical approach. But at the end of the day, it's just words. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I loved it. I feel, it's just the thing that I do with the mentees, but on a larger scale. And it's something really personal. When I was in the age wherein you guys are today, had at that point in time, anybody would have told me, Devieka, maybe you write well. So maybe my career path would have been different. So if I can, somewhere, anyway, to anybody kind of spark that interest or maybe hone that interest in any which way possible, that would make me feel very happy. So yeah. So it should be about 250 to 300. Either one of those, whatever's interest. Even if you think there's something else that you want to write, which sparks your interest, please do that. It's okay. Bye. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye. See you guys.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.